Hi guys, Dracona here. I'm here on my own today, so this will be the very first episode of Ozzie Game Guy's solo run. Today I'll be talking about Ragnarok Online. Open beta for Gravity's Ragnarok Online launched the Oceanic Ragnarok server back in the December of 2004, which is when I started playing, and all I could simply say back then was, whoa. I was just kind of at a loss for words at this gigantic world that I could explore with my friends. But what's really changed between then and now? Let's have a look. When you've created your character, you'll notice you'll get plopped straight into the novice training area. There's not really a lot that's changed here, but it's certainly a much more in-depth experience with little diagrams and just a better look at how to play the game, move around, use items, and equip gear. The NPCs you talk to will also just give you some free experience to help leveling up be a little quicker. Once you get to the combat portion, it's certainly a lot easier here as well. There's a whole line of NPCs that can give you some quests to help you get through a little faster, and even lend you items to help you learn about some of the first class abilities. So really there's no one left behind here. The game does a great job about teaching new players about how to play Ragnarok. Once you've had enough time in the novice training grounds, you can talk to an NPC and she'll send you to the town of your choosing, which also corresponds to one of the classes that you will inevitably become. Now there's a whole range of classes to choose from. Swordsmen, which are your basic fighters, acolytes, which are your healers, magicians, they're mages, archers, which is a little self-explanatory, thieves, and merchants, which is what I became. There are some extra classes that were introduced into the game, but I won't go into those right now. One thing that's changed between when Ragnarok launched and now is that there's no longer a quest to become your first class. You simply talk to the NPC in the class guild of your choice, and they will change you for free. So this is a lot simpler than it was back then, some first job quests taking up to at least an hour to finish. Once you class change, all of a sudden you'll have all these new abilities you can learn, ranging from great attack abilities to defensive abilities, even just passives that make life a little easier. Every class has a couple of platinum abilities. Now these abilities can't be learned simply through leveling up. You'll need to go out on a quest and fetch some items so that the NPC can teach you the ability. Some of these abilities range from super useful to kind of a waste of time. Whether or not you decide to get them is totally up to you, but some are definitely worth having. The game's combat isn't much to marvel at low levels, but once you get to higher levels, you can expect to see a spectacle on the screen, with huge over-the-top abilities, crazy attacks, huge spells, and lots of monsters running around. You definitely won't have any time to stop and have a breather, especially with the new dungeons that have been implemented through the Eden Group, which is a new addition to the game. The Eden Group implementation in Ragnarok was more than likely a way to ease the strain on people on lower levels who want to level up quickly. The Eden Group itself has a few extra things inside, like quest boards and NPCs that can give you gear in exchange for doing a quest. I won't get too in-depth into that because there's just a lot there to talk about. Now that I've talked about some of the changes that you'll have experienced at the start of the game, what's good and what's bad? Let's start with the bad. One thing you'll notice, if you're playing from a country that's not in America, is that your connection can sometimes be very bad, with lag spikes and even a lot of position bugs that can happen when you're being attacked by monsters or even just trying to move around normally. This can be remedied by downloading a program called What the Fast. It's a free program to download and it's very tiny, but what it basically does is create a direct channel from where your computer is to the game server. Now it's free for the first 30 days, but after that there is a nominal fee to continue using it, which is definitely worth the $6. One thing that you may not notice straight away is that there's a lot of bots in Ragnarok. Just characters that are running around controlled by a computer and not a host at all. They're generally just there to grind for money, or pick up items, or level up. Once you notice bots, they can kind of break you out of the experience. They're a little annoying, but once you get into higher level areas, you won't see them anymore. Another thing that can turn players away is the low experience rates. They're not so bad on low levels, but once you get to higher levels, like 90 and above, it becomes a real grind to level up. This can be a real problem, but this can also be remedied. Downloading and playing Ragnarok is free, but for a small fee, you can become a VIP. It enables a few perks in out the game, mostly revolving around the Eden Group. You can get free buffs that will plus all your stats, You'll get extra experience rates. You can take extra quests at the Eden Group instance. It's just a quality of life thing, and for the low price of, I think it was $7, it's definitely well worth it. And another thing that can be a little annoying is position bugs and rubber banding. These aren't so bad on their own. Even if you're using What the Fast, it can still be noticeable and kind of annoying. And now for some of the good features. Once you hit a certain level, or generally after you get your second class up, become an alchemist, a knight, crusader, there's a whole lot going on there. You start to begin feeling really powerful, like you just can't be stopped. There's always a lot happening on the screen, you'll never be bored. There's also a lot of interesting stuff within the game. Items to summon powerful monsters, lots of big mobs. The gameplay is really fast and exciting to play. You'll never get bored once you get to the higher levels. And the last thing, there is a great freemium structure. As I said before, the game's free to play, but there is a VIP system. It's very cheap, it's very affordable, and it's very well priced. There's also an in-game item shop that uses the special donation currency. These are called Kafra points. There's a lot of items to choose from, ranging from headgears to buff scrolls, potions, food buffs. There's a lot to choose from here. And there's nothing overpowered. It's not a simple case of paying for power. Everything there feels really balanced. Last but not least, the visual presentation. Although the 3D world looks a little dated just because it's kind of polygonal and square, the textures look great, and there's a lot of environments to walk around. And even though your characters are two-dimensional sprites based in a 3D world, they still look great. They're small, super cute, and there's a lot of items to choose from, so you can feel like an individual among the thousands of players you'll be running across. There's even a cheap item in the cash shop that lets you change the colour of your clothes, which helps you feel like an individual among all the other characters who look a little samey. And with updates still being implemented into the game, you'll never be bored. So, to sum everything up, what do I really think about Ragnarok between then and now? After all that's said and done, Ragnarok Online is still a great game to play with your friends or even on your own. There's a large friendly player base, with most of the players being veterans like me who have been playing for over 10 years, so you'll never really be lost if you can just find someone to talk to. Well, that's all for me guys. If you want to download Ragnarok Online, all you have to do is go to www.warportal.com. And I'll see you next time in whatever me and Janos happen to be working on. See you then.
It's like Pokemon. Use String Shock! Crystallize!